Hi, this is Dallas, out today getting ready to do some burning. Actually, we've already started doing some burning on our place. Just wanted to give you a view into what we do when we're burning on our property. This is some longleaf pine that we have. These pines are probably about, I guess this is their 6th year. And so they've been burned 3 times since they were planted. We have a lot of grass component in this part of the stand, a lot more invasive grasses than I'd like to see, so we have some spots that get really hot. But overall, it's been doing really well. We've been getting those grasses under control, starting to get a lot more natives in the picture in here. So the stands are really starting to look good. This is a little warmer day than I really would like, just from our comfort. But the humidity levels are good. Anything when I'm not getting into the 20s is great. Those are the days that really cause a pucker factor for you. And so hopefully winds will stay consistent. They're out of the west-southwest for us today, about 8 to 10 mile per hour winds. And we have good mixing height. So hopefully this is going to be a good burn day, and we'll show a little bit more fire as we go along. And then I'll come back out and wrap it up a couple days post-burn, a couple weeks post-burn, and see how this does. Main reason I'm burning now, this is the first part of February. I really wanted to get burned earlier. Got behind because of snow and some other things. But now I'm really pushing to get this burned before our longleaf start candling. And I'll try and come out and show some of the candling too for those who may not understand what candling is. But you do not want to burn your longleaf when they are in that candling stage, or you will kill those buds. Otherwise, longleaf are pretty fireproof, and you can burn them. Like I say, we've been burning them since they were about 2 years old, a year or two old in post-planting. If you've got enough fuels, longleaf like it. They can tolerate it. One of the guys that we worked with used to say, we're teaching them to be longleaf. Okay, so we've started our back line, put a little black down to give us some extra security on this edge. We back it into the wind. That way the flames move a lot slower. You have more control over your fire when you do a backing fire. And so as you can see in this area here, we've got a really good black line started. This area had really good grass, not as much briar component in it, so it burns really well. Then you'll see this area here started going out on me. There is some black. There's still some fire burning up under some of this. But I'll probably come back in and pull a little fire up above it a little bit, let it come back in. But this is what happens with some vegetation, especially briars, goldenrod, and some of those things. They just don't burn well. They're not good fuels. So sometimes you have to baby it along, but my goal is to get me a good black line in here, even though I've got a really good break on this end. Not too worried about it, but there is a house to the other side, and so I want to make sure that we don't have any issues. I like this west wind that we're getting because on the west side we have what used to be a pasture. This year it's an ag field, so it's not as big of an issue, but I always like backing into that pasture so that we didn't spot over into there and cause some issues. This fire really loves Bermuda bahia grass, and it'll roll on us if our winds were to shift. So that's why we established this black line, for extra safety. All right, so our fire has backed all the way up to our line. We're watching it along here. We got some grassy spots. We don't want it to cross over into this burn pile. Not wanting to deal with that today. And so we're gonna stand guard a little while. We got a tree, of course, on the line that's flaming up a little bit. We'll probably come take care of it and then watch it as it continues on in. Been burning pretty good so far. All right, so you can see that this stand has burned. Got it all nice and clean. We have a few patches with some briars that did not burn well, but that's all right. And what we're gonna do now is go through and do a good mop up. So anything I see still smoldering or smoking logs, trees, whatever, we're gonna make sure that we put those out well, mainly because we don't want the wind to come up and take those embers somewhere else, cause some problems for our neighbors, especially since we don't live really close by, and I won't be able to monitor it really closely this evening. So I go in and do a very thorough mop up, make sure nothing's going on. So that's what we're fixing to do now. This is the second stand that we are burning today. This is a mature slash, and we recently had them thinned back last summer. So there's a lot of slash or debris on the ground. So this is going to be our trouble spot for mop up. Although I will say that when we had these thin, we cut out all the ones that had really bad cankers and things in them. So we don't have near the flare-ups. I think we haven't had a flare-up at all on any of the trees that are left. So that's been really nice, not having to put out candle trees anywhere. But now we've got a couple large debris piles that we're gonna have to babysit for a little while and see if we can't get those under control before we head out this evening. So just a real narrow stand, but usually was one of our biggest problems. Hopefully not this year. We were able to finish up our burning with no issues, got everything mopped up nicely, even the areas with the burn piles, all the slash debris left over from our timber harvest. So that was nice. I'm throwing up some photos here that you're seeing now. These are from the burn we did, 2 years ago, same stand, year before last. These are photos that are showing shortly after the burn or the day of the burn, and then a couple of pictures within the week and a couple of weeks post-burn, and then a month or so post-burn. So that you can kind of see the change in the stand over time, how quickly it will respond. And actually, the burn that year was a whole lot hotter than what we saw this year. So there is a fair amount of scorch on those longleaf, which is not uncommon in small longleaf, especially with a lot of fuel on the ground. But they recover really quickly. We didn't have any mortality from those trees. And so people often get really anxious when you're burning really young longleaf, afraid they're going to kill them. So as you can see here, the needles may look really brown for a while, but there's no reason to worry about it. If you're not burning when those young longleaf are kindling, you don't have to worry about killing that bud. That's what they're designed to do. So those photos there at the end, you see that was from 2 years ago, about a month post-burn. And I'll show a photo of the stand as it looked right before we were burning. So you can see it doesn't take a whole lot of time in our growing season with the rainfall and everything that we have for the stand to really become overgrown, which is why we burn on a 2-year rotation. Before we go, one last thing I wanted to mention was that early that morning, I got a burn permit from the Georgia Forestry Commission. You need to do this before you start burning. You need to know the location, exact location of where you're going to be burning, about how many acres you're going to be burning, about what time you're going to do ignition, and then they'll give you a permit number. This provides you with some liability protection and allows them to know, okay, this acreage is being burned. We don't have to send someone out because this is not a forest fire. This is a prescribed fire. So it's a good thing for you to do if you're not doing that already. Have everything, all your gear ready so that you can protect yourself from fire if it does get away from you. If something were to happen, you could always call the Forestry Commission and they would get someone out there to help you stop that fire. So for now, that's all I have. Thank you.